Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We just heard from George Brockler. Yes, probation for child rape is an option in Colorado. Now, the lawmaker, and as you heard from George, the real fighter in this, trying to address this, is Representative Brandy Bradley from Douglas County. She joins us now. Good morning, Representative.
Good morning, guys. So happy to be on. Thank you.
Good morning.
So tell us about your bill. You tried to run something similar last year. Let's start there. You tried to run it last year, and it didn't go anywhere. What happened?
A different bill last year. We were trying to put anyone that panders, prostitutes, solicits minors for sex in jail with a minimum sentencing. We know the Democrats don't like, most Democrats, I should say, don't like minimum sentences. But the lobby came to us and just said, we can't put people in jail that don't put their hands on kids when people that rape children don't go to jail. So Representative English and I decided to bring a bill back to put people who actually assault children in jail first, and then we will handle the second part of that next year.
So the bill this year, House Bill 25-1073, protections against child rape concerning criminal sentencing for persons who commit certain types of sexual assault on a child and connection therewith, requiring a mandatory minimum period of incarceration for a Class 4 and a Class 3 felony. Give us a sense of what you're hearing from House and Senate leadership on this bill.
Well, I'm hearing it's going to die, and I'm hearing it's going to die because they don't like indeterminate sentencing. However, I did not make those rules. These rules for indeterminate sentencing were put in Colorado revised statutes long before I became a lawmaker. I didn't make the rules. I just added that we are going to take probation off for felony 3 and felony 4 sexual assault on a child. So it's interesting when they come to me and say I'm taking away judicial discretion and all these other things. No, these were the laws of the land long before Brandy Bradley.
And so they believe that judges should have total discretion on this, and that somehow because we're requiring this, we're not treating these criminals well or abusing their human rights or something. What's going on?
Well, I am hearing that they feel like criminals are staying in jail for too long, but we know that that's a red herring. We know that these people, there's a wait list on the DOC, and a lot of people included in the wait list are not even parole eligible once they have received this treatment. Some of these offenders don't want to receive the treatment, which is part of their ability to even become parole eligible. Some of these offenders will never see the light of day. They will never get out because they've raped so many different children. So the wait list includes all of these different people, which it shouldn't. There might be 1 or 2 that are past their parole eligibility, but that's it. So it's a red herring that they're trying to throw out there. We know from my fiscal note that 70 different offenders got off on probation only after raping a child last year. 70.
Ooh, that is scary. Now, Brandy Bradley, state representative, joining Jeff and Bill live, talking about why that people that rape children can get probation here in Colorado. Brandy, just out of curiosity, have you asked the opponents of this bill if they believe that probation is ever the right punishment for raping a child? Have they ever talked to you? And I understand playing the game of, oh, well, this is what the rules say and the laws say. You guys are the body and you can change the laws. But has anyone ever justified the fact that someone who has raped a child deserves probation?
I'm going to go on a limb and say that I don't think that anyone that I work with believes that. I think that they have a problem with the indeterminate sentencing, but I will tell you that Senator Mike Wiseman came to me about the indeterminate sentencing, and he's running the most unconstitutional gun bill in the state that we've ever seen. So, the hypocrisy is evident in this building, right?
Yeah, it is. Now, the question I've got with the people that are pushing on the indeterminate sentencing, I understand, but if we were going to err on the side of keeping prisoners in jail too long, wouldn't the people that rape the kids be the people that we may say, you know what, even if we're going to keep them in jail too long, that's okay? I can think of a lot of different crimes in which indeterminate sentencing makes a lot of sense as far as, well, has this person actually paid the price to society? Are we keeping them in too long? Is this extraneous? I get it. But when you're involved with sexual activity with a minor, and we're talking about something that is forcible, either involving a coercion or what have you, why are these lawmakers not okay with erring on the side of keeping them in prison longer? I just can't get my mind around the justification of, oh, well, the one group of people that we need to get grace for, we need to give them an extra chance to maybe go outside where they have such a high recidivism rate, are the people that are touching the kids. If there's any group of people, I would put, let's see, murderers and maybe the child molesters. Those could be the two people I think we could all agree should maybe stay in prison a little bit longer than what may be required if we had to make the error, if we had to.
Well, and 75% of these offenders are child rapists. And the longest DOC time that any of them have gotten is 25 years. So they're not in there for their natural life, which is another red herring that I think that they say that we're locking them up for life. That's not true. These people do not, they pretty much go through the sex offender treatment program and they get paroled and they're back out on the street. So these people we're not locking them up for life. And I'll tell you that we just had the Department of Youth Corrections come, and I asked them, these kids that are in your department that are, doing other things to hurt other people, tell me about their lives. These are children that have been raped, violently, sexually assaulted, or physically assaulted by people in our community. And now we're pipelining these children into the juvenile justice system and into the jails. So is that fair to these kids to not lock up the adults that are harming them and not give them the chance at life? And that's what's so frustrating to me, that you put your hands on these kids and then you pipeline them into a life of crime, essentially.
Ooh, Brandy. Okay, Brandy Bradley, state representative, joining Jeff and Bill live. I think you've hit on something there, that when you get into conversations, debate, when you're talking about this, I think you've hit on something there about the impact on the child. And given where the Democrats come from, as far as all the squishy, touchy-feeling, ideas, more times than not, maybe you have a lever to pull, asking opponents why they care more about the adult than keeping the child safe. This is a person that has violated the trust and has impacted a child for the rest of their life. This child is going to be dealing with this trauma forever. Why?
I agree.
Why would you possibly give them an out? Why would you possibly turn to the adult and say, well, we have to figure out how this is impacting you? I think that's a ask, because why would they be more concerned about the impact on the adult life than the trauma that has been created for the child? I can't wrap my head around that. Why you would defend the adult rather than the child?
Well, I think that's one of my main points. I mean, children deserve to have a good life. And when you have adults taking their power and coercion and assaulting a child, I can't wrap my head around it either, Bill, to be quite honest. These people deserve prison. They deserve to go through a sexual treatment program. And a lot of these prisoners won't admit to talk about their sexual preferences and why they offended, and they won't seek the treatment. So why would we give probation to anyone like that?
Yeah, I keep thinking also of the individual that's gone through the trauma, or even the parent that has to talk to the kid and say, you know what, the person that did this to you, they're on probation. They're out. They have the opportunity to go and seek out other victims. And the reason I bring that up is because of the recidivism rate being so high in this population. It is more likely they are going to go after more victims than not. This is one group that seems to not have learned their lesson by being behind bars and having their freedoms restricted. And that's the question, is how many of these opponents of the bill would want to have to turn and talk to a member of their family about how the person that violated them in one of the worst ways possible now is free to go and seek more victims? How many opponents of this bill wants to have that conversation with a friend, a family member, a child that they know, to explain the person that committed the crime now has the opportunity to do it again?
Right. I mean, the parents, I can't imagine if something like this happened to my son. The other explanation is that this is a crime of black men, and we know that it's not. When we look at the fiscal impact, we know that this is a white crime. We know that this is happening in churches. We know it's happening in schools. We know it's happening by soccer coaches. And when the liberal people in my district say, well, why aren't you going after the churches? I'm going after anyone that assaults a child. If you put your hands on a child and assault them and sexually rape them, I want you behind bars. I don't care who you are and what you look like. You deserve to go to jail.
Talking to Representative Brandy Bradley. She's got a new bill out, House Bill 251073, protections against child rape. She's not optimistic it's going to pass here in Colorado. We need to hold our elected officials accountable to this. And I am so glad, as George Brockler said, you are a titan fighting this down at the Colorado State Capitol. Thank you for taking time to join the Jeff and Bill show this morning.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm emotional about this one. I'm all on your side. You got to fight as hard as you possibly can for this. This is a bunch of crap, all those opponents. And tell them, Brandy, if they want to defend their position, you know how I operate. Tell them they're more than welcome to call the show. Come and be a guest. Well, I'll be more than happy to debate them with it. You know how that goes.
We'd love to have them on. You're doing great work, Representative
You are
Bradley.
great. And we didn't even yell at each other today. You're the best, Brandy. I love you so much. I really respect your work.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for putting this out there. I really appreciate it.
Keep up the hard fight. And I'm serious. Anybody that is an opponent of this bill, give them the invitation. We are ready any day of the week to talk to them about why they oppose this bill.
Yep.
The door is open.
All
Let
right.
them know.
We'll call them out too.
Yeah.